I'll start this one with a riddle. What does your throat and an elementary school cheat sheet have to do with early modern theater? Individually, nothing. But when you put them together, you get the Gull's Hornbook. The Gull's Hornbook is a satirical manual printed in 1609, written by the playwright Thomas Dekker, which teaches young men how to behave in London. But the lessons taught in the Hornbook are more jokes about how terrible young men behaved when they were out and about. It's basically a Jacobean BuzzFeed article about the top 5 things to do as a young man in early modern London, but all of the list items are things that only obnoxious people do. But how does this relate to my riddle from earlier? Well, a hornbook is a kind of cheat sheet reference tool that school children used to use, and the term gull comes from gullet, or to swallow, and it used to mean a stupid or easily fooled person, as in, they're so dumb, they'll swallow any story you tell them. So when you put the two together, it literally means the idiot's guide, except that this version is a joke. So, according to this hornbook, how did people behave at the theater in Shakespeare's day? In Shakespeare's day, you could pay to sit on the stage, seemingly in any playhouse in London by at least 1609, as is evidenced by this quote. Whether, therefore, the gatherers of the public or private playhouses stand to receive the afternoon's rent, let our gallant, having paid it, presently advance himself up to the throne of the stage. I mean not into the Lord's room, which is now but the stage's suburbs, no, but on the very rushes where the comedy is to dance. Which leads to number 4. The reason you would want to sit on the stage is to be seen by everybody. I could go further, but I think Dekker explains it best. First, a conspicuous eminence is gotten, by which means the best and most essential parts of a gallant: good clothes, a proportionable leg, white hand, the Persian lock, and a tolerable beard are perfectly revealed. By sitting on the stage, if you be a knight, you may happily get you a mistress. If a mere Fleet Street gentleman, a wife. You see, going to a play back then was more of a raucous social event than it is now. We've been conditioned to sit quietly in dark rooms while art is presented at us. Back then, you went to a play to see and to be seen. It was more like a high school football game than a night of culture. The goal was to interact with your peers and gain social standing more than it was to be enthralled by the action. And speaking of action, before the play begins, fall to cards. For real, people would gamble on stage. I said it was raucous. Now, sir, if the writer be a fellow that hath either epigrammed you or hath had a flirt at your mistress, you shall disgrace him worse than by tossing him in a blanket or by giving him the bastinado in a tavern if, in the middle of his play, you rise with a screwed and discontented face from your stool and be gone. No matter whether the scenes be good or no, the better they are, the worse you do distaste them, and being on your feet, sneak not away like a coward, but salute all your gentle acquaintance that are spread either on the rushes or on the stools about you, and draw what troop you can from the stage after you. Okay, so that one was a bit severe, and I'm sure it wasn't a frequent occurrence, but it obviously happened enough to become a meme, like the "I'd like to speak to the manager" haircut. It's kind of funny to think that people can be just as petty and knee-jerk as we can be today. The next places that are filled after the playhouses be emptied are, or ought to be, taverns. And just like today, the best place to go after the play is a bar. Had they had Denny's in Shakespeare's day, many a midnight grand slam would be had by Shakespeare and his contemporaries. But the most valuable lesson we can take away from the Gull's Hornbook is just how little people have changed over the last 400 years. People still like to go out for a drink after the show, they still like to socialize, and there are still obnoxious people to make fun of. And through the Gull's Hornbook, we get to see the humanity of a frankly romanticized era. Sources like this are invaluable. Well, that's all for this one, and as always, if you have an interest in Shakespeare, theater, or wordplay in general, take a second to like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about the Hornbook in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.